The Honourable Louise Upston.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. It's an honour to stand in this Parliament and speak in one of your first terms in your role as Deputy Speaker. May I say, Mr Speaker, you look so comfortable in that chair. I also want to offer my congratulations to the reappointment of the Right Honourable David Carter as the Speaker and to Lindsay Tish as the Assistant Speaker, and to welcome and look forward to my time in the House while the Honourable Trevor Mallard occupies the chair as well. Mr Speaker, in the speech from the throne this morning, there was a lot of pomp and ceremony that quite rightly goes with the House of Representatives. But the Right Honourable John Key had an important message, that this national-led government will work in the interests of every New Zealander. It really is both a privilege and an honour to be in a government that New Zealanders have so decisively given support to. 60 national MPs. It was 61 for a couple of weeks, but we now have 60 national MPs. That is a resounding vote of support for the policies that we took into the election in 2014. And Mr Speaker, one of the things that is just so fantastic is that I'm just thrilled at the 14 new MPs our caucus has brought in. You'll see I'm surrounded by several of them this evening. And this afternoon we heard in the address and reply the mover and seconder, two incredibly impressive speakers and new members of Parliament in this House. So you'll know, Mr Speaker, as a former Chief Whip, one of my roles was to help get them settled into this place. But I can tell by the calibre, the depth and breadth of our MPs that it will take no time at all. I do also want to say that I have handed over the reins, or should I say the whip, to Tim McIndoe. I know he'll do a wonderful job as the Senior Government Whip, ably supported by Jamie Lee Ross as the Junior Whip and Joanne Hayes as the Third Whip. And I want to just echo the comment that the Honourable Chris Tremaine said about the Whip's role. It's a cross between being a Sergeant Major and a parish priest. And for those in this chamber who have been a Whip, they will understand that role only too well. But I do also want to welcome new MPs and returning MPs for that matter from across the Parliament. I only wish that on days like today more people actually watched this House in action, because this is probably the day of the year that there is more generosity, more friendliness, more cooperation. And, you know, actually for new MPs, there'd be one thing I would say. Your reputation is in your hands. And your reputation as a Member of Parliament is not just with your own caucus colleagues. It is from parliamentary colleagues across the chamber. It is with the many hundreds of staff who support us in our role in parliamentarians, in the Office of the Clerk, in the Parliamentary Service, for those who work incredibly hard in your electorate offices, who become the face of you in your electorate while you are here representing your constituents in Parliament. So I encourage you to think about the opportunity for you to form your reputation here. It is also an honour, Mr Speaker, to have been named as the Minister for Women, the Minister for Land Information, and to be given associate responsibilities in both tertiary education and local government. So, Mr Speaker, I did just want to touch briefly on those four areas. Firstly, in the portfolio of women, I'm incredibly excited about working with a very able, dedicated and committed team of professionals in the Ministry of Women's Affairs. I'm a real firm believer that women should have every opportunity available to them to realise their potential. And I'm thrilled to work alongside some incredibly able and competent women in our caucus. It's actually all of our responsibilities, men and women, to support women to do better, to encourage, to inspire, to support women to take the next step forward. And for one, I'm really incredibly committed to make sure that we have more women in leadership roles, and on our boards. So part of that means actually getting them into the funnel early on. And there are some women out there who don't see that there are opportunities. So I see, as the Minister for Women, it will be my responsibility to make sure that we provide those opportunities and encourage more to step into those opportunities and to realise their potential. Because, Mr. Speaker, our economy is growing, our economy is thriving, and women have a critical role to play in that. And, you know, I wasn't going to go there, but I will. So one of the opposition members is piping up and chipping away to say that women in Parliament aren't well represented. Well, I suggest you look at your own constitution. I understand you are now in breach of your own constitution, so sort your own side out before criticising this side. Mr. Speaker, I do, in the spirit of cooperation, I do want to acknowledge the comments that Kelvin Davis made in his speech earlier today, and to talk about his commitment as a local MP and his stand to reduce sexual and domestic violence. And he is a great example of an MP who can stand up and say, no matter what political party he is part of, he can constructively and actively make a difference for his community, and I applaud him for that. And I echo the comments of Minister Amy Adams, who is the Justice Minister, and I'm looking forward to working with Minister Anne Tolley for Social Development, because this is a problem that exists for New Zealand, not just for the government of the day. And I challenge every member in this House to look at what you can do for your community to protect women and children from violence. And I promise you my door will be open as the Minister for Women to hear your practical solutions for how we as a Parliament can serve our country in protecting women and children in their own homes. Mr. Speaker, land information was a portfolio that was an interesting surprise, and it's been really interesting to get a better understanding of just how valuable our property information is. And I think what Land Information New Zealand have is an absolutely incredible piece of potential that if we can use their data and their information that is location-based in greater ways, then it will have a significant impact in the sorts of decisions that we make in central government, in local government, in businesses, and in all sorts of areas, whether it's emergency response, whether it's national defence, whether it's businesses making decisions about where they go next, how they grow, how they develop. So it's really exciting to see land information and the ability or the potential for how we can unlock the potential of the information they hold, and great to see the important work they're doing in the Canterbury recovery. Mr. Speaker, I'm looking forward to working with the Honourable Paula Bennett in local government and the Minister for Tertiary Education, the Honourable Stephen Joyce. But before I finish, I want to come back to the comments that Stuart Nash made about national forgetting rural or provincial New Zealand. Mr. Nash, I suggest you look at the electorate results up and down New Zealand and look at rural and provincial New Zealand election data that will prove to you, in 99.9 cases, yours being the 0.1, that rural and provincial New Zealand support national. And I want to take a moment to thank those of the Taupo electorate who supported me in this recent election. Because, Mr. Speaker, MPs who are returning to this place know that every 3 years you have a performance review, and your community decides how you're doing at your job of representing them in Parliament. And I'm clear, Mr. Speaker, that that is my priority first and foremost, to represent the constituents in Taupo. And I want to thank two of my team who have worked incredibly hard for me in my electorate office, Lisa McKinnon and Vivian Ricona, who are finishing up with me in this term. But I really acknowledge the incredible work they do serving constituents in need. Mr Speaker, it's an exciting time to be a New Zealander, and I'm incredibly proud to be part of the John Key national-led government because we are delivering results for New Zealanders. And each and every day over the next 3 years, we will continue to show New Zealanders how hard we are working for them.
Carmel Sepuloni.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker, and can I start by congratulating you